Welcome to the first of several installments of Inside ABATE of the Black Hills. My name is John Dale. First, I'd like to share a little bit of background about me. I have acute sinusitis and my doctor recommended surgery to correct that problem. I'm working up the courage to schedule the surgery for next spring, but I'm worried about how it's going to affect my singing voice. I have 3 injuries to my back and neck suffered from riding BMX bicycles and washing dishes at Flying J Truck Stop. These 2 conditions limit the types of work that I can do, which is why I chose to get a master's degree in Management Information Systems. It's like business computing from the University of Arizona. Unfortunately, for over a decade now, foreigners have been throwing away my resumes and my family has suffered. South Dakota doesn't have many technology jobs, so it's been a very difficult 13 years here, but we struggled through it and thrived in other areas despite these challenges. Recently, I was very happy to learn that an attorney took up my case and filed complaints with the Department of Justice after I was able to provide proof of the fraud preventing me from being hired. I've lost out on millions of dollars in wages. I live in the Black Hills of western South Dakota. Kind of heaven on earth for motorcycle riders. I switched from bicycles to motorcycles a few years back. I'm almost 50 years old now. I've been married to the same woman and have raised and educated 3 children with her. I met this guy, Fritz Carter, a good friend of ABATE, South Dakota founder Wiley, through my mom. She was born and raised in Belle Fourche, South Dakota, 10 minutes from where I live. Fritz recommended that I join ABATE. I asked him what ABATE stands for, and he said, a brotherhood against totalitarian enactments. I liked that. Totalitarian means a form of government that prohibits opposition, outlaws claims from individuals, and controls communication and other aspects of life. I joined ABATE of the Black Hills around May of 2022. A couple months later, I gave a presentation sharing information I had about EF and EMF emissions that were coming from the electronics under the seats of motorcycles, and I was curious about how that might cause some health issues. They voted me Member of the Month for my presentation. In the Black Hills of South Dakota, for years this brotherhood has been managed by Darlene, the president, Diane, the vice president, Susan, the treasurer, and Barbie, the secretary. I was happy to join ABATE, and it was a good opportunity for me to participate meaningfully in civic involvement. Meetings are only once a month, and dues are only $25 a year. ABATE is a non-profit company, which means that there are special rules governing how it treats its members. It's also considered by many to be grassroots, which means that the issues it champions bubble up through the ranks. In order to be heard by your chapter, though, the issues should be motorcycle related. And in order for issues to bubble up through the ranks have to be able to communicate with one another. I don't recall missing a single meeting in 2 years, and I really enjoy the ride to the City of Riders, Sturgis, South Dakota, for the meetings. While attending those meetings, I networked and continued to try to get hired in my field so I can pay back my student loans and support my family. I also play music really well and do some independent research around safety issues with cellular phones and electric vehicles. Recently, the research around cellular phone safety converged. There's a general consensus now that cell phones and cell towers are dangerous, especially to motorcycle riders. Now, I'm a big fan of the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I'm an expert in large enterprise information systems like the ones used by Facebook, Google, IBM, law enforcement, the U.S. military, and Tesla. I also see some serious violations of the Constitution from the way the internet is being used right now, especially by these electric vehicles. They're being used to bring in totalitarianism, in my opinion. I recently wrote an article about this and published it to my website, plainstribune.com. The address of the article is plainstribune.com/rf. When I attempted to share this article with the members of ABATE of the Black Hills, the article was censored. When I attempted to share it with ABATE of South Dakota, I got no response. When I attempted to add an item to our chapter's agenda to share the contents of the article with our chapter, I was verbally abused by the board and denied. When I reached out to the state coordinator to present my findings at the state board meeting, I got no response and figured they had also censored my work. When I asked our chapter president to declare any conflicts of interest, my request was denied. Recently, I received certified mail from the Board of ABATE of the Black Hills that said they had voted to expel me from our chapter. It contained a check refunding my dues. According to the ABATE of South Dakota bylaws, our chapter is supposed to follow Robert's Rules of Order. My understanding of Robert's Rules of Order is that to expel a member, a hearing must be called at a regular meeting that I must be notified of, and I must have a chance to defend myself. It also states in the ABATE of South Dakota bylaws that no chapter's bylaws can overrule the state bylaws. After censoring my article about motorcycle safety and motorcycle rider profiling, the Board of ABATE of the Black Hills voted to expel me from the chapter without a hearing and without notice. I still believe in the mission of ABATE, and I'm disappointed at the behavior of our board, at the lack of communication of the state coordinator, at the censorship, and at the disregard for the rules in our bylaws. If you know someone affiliated with the ABATE of the Black Hills chapter or the state-level organization, would you mind forwarding this video to them? They might be interested to know about these things and might help take some corrective action to preserve the reputation of ABATE of South Dakota and all of its member chapters. Maybe someone can talk the Black Hills board back off the ledge. Thank you for watching.